You know that feeling. It's not a sharp pain, and it's not a tragedy. It's just a dull, persistent hum in the background of your life. It's the realization that you are living a life that is fine. You have a job that pays the bills, a routine that keeps you busy, and a comfort level that keeps you from panicking. But when you lay your head down at night, there is a tiny, nagging voice that asks, "Is this it?" You feel like you're being realistic. You tell yourself that you're being smart, that you're making the practical choice by staying in that career that drains your spirit, or by remaining in a relationship that feels like a lukewarm cup of tea. You believe that settling is just the price of admission for being an adult in a complex world. But I want to tell you something that might feel uncomfortable. What if that realism is actually a sophisticated mask for something much deeper? Today, we are going to peel back that mask. We are going to explore the psychological architecture of why you settle for less than you deserve. We're going to look at how safe mediocrity functions as a trap, explore the space theory of how your current life blocks your future, and finally, we will uncover the 3 steps you can take to break the cycle and reclaim the life you are actually meant to lead. The first thing we have to understand is the safe mediocrity loop. Most people believe that they are choosing the path of least resistance because they lack the resources for the better path. But the research suggests a different culprit, the fear of being labeled a failure. Think about it. If you try to launch that business, or write that book, or demand that respect from your partner, and you fail, then you have to face the public and, more importantly, the private judgment of "I wasn't good enough." That is a terrifying prospect. So your brain performs a brilliant subconscious sleight of hand. It limits your goals to things it knows you can achieve. It creates a success ceiling. You achieve a level of success that is technically a win. You got the promotion, you bought the house, you stayed in the relationship, but it is significantly lower than your actual potential. Here's the trap. By succeeding at something small, you get a dopamine hit of achievement. It tricks your brain into thinking you've reached the finish line. You feel the high of a minor victory, which effectively numbs you to the fact that you are still settling. You are running on a treadmill of good enough, and because you're moving, you don't notice that the scenery never changes. This brings us to what I call the space theory. This is a visual for your internal world. Imagine your life as a house. If your life is filled with placeholder people, those who are just there because they were convenient and good enough jobs that occupy your time but not your soul, there is literally no physical or emotional space for the extraordinary to enter. You are effectively blocking your own destiny by refusing to let go of what you don't want. You say you want more, but your hands are full of enough. You can't grab the keys to the next door because you're still clutching the luggage of the last room you were in. Now, I want to pause here. If any of this is hitting home, if you feel that weight of the placeholder life, I want you to take a second. Think about one area of your life right now that feels fine, but not great. Is it the job, the relationship, the creative dream you put on a shelf? Let that question sit with you as we move into the next part of our journey. There is another reason we settle, and it's perhaps the most tragic one, the sacrifice paradox. Many of us stay in mediocre situations because we are taking our past sacrifices for granted. You think, "I worked so hard to get here, I can't leave now." You look at the years of overtime, the missed opportunities, the emotional toll of a difficult situation, and you decide that because you paid a price to get here, you are obligated to stay here. In reality, you are sacrificing your future to preserve a past that no longer serves you. You are treating your life like a sunk cost. Just because you spent 10 years building a house that you now hate living in doesn't mean you should spend the next 10 years inside it. This is a maturity deficit. Choosing better every time is a muscle. If you haven't trained your mindset to demand more, you will always default to the path of least resistance. We've been conditioned to believe that contentment is the goal, but there is a profound difference between being content with your growth and being content with your cage. Take the golden handcuffs professional. They have the salary, the title, and the respect of their peers, but they feel like a ghost in their own life. They settle because they fear the funding gap of starting over. They choose financial security over soul-level fulfillment, or look at the placeholder partner. They stay because if they leave, they might be alone, but by staying, they remain permanently unavailable to the person who would actually be their everything. They are choosing the safety of a known loneliness over the risk of an unknown connection. And then there is the safe artist. They produce work that is good, but it never reaches great because they are terrified of the public's reaction to a truly ambitious project. They settle for the likable because they are afraid of the monumental. So, how do we break out? How do we move from safe mediocrity to risk-taker's greatness? It requires a 3-step pivot. First, you must audit the why. Next time you find yourself making a choice staying in the job, staying in the routine, ask yourself, am I choosing this because it's the best option or because I'm afraid of what happens if I try the other one? Be brutally honest. If the answer is fear, you are no longer being realistic. You're being held hostage. Second, find your action trigger. The paralysis of perfection is what keeps the cage locked. You don't need to quit your job today. You don't need to move out tomorrow. You just need to take one small immediate action that breaks the status quo. Write one page, have one difficult conversation, spend 1 hour on that project. Inaction is the only way to guarantee mediocrity. Action, no matter how small, is the only way to reclaim your agency. Finally, you must undergo a value realignment. Stop looking at what you lack and start looking at where you are not being valued. If an environment doesn't allow for your growth, it is not a foundation, it is a ceiling. If a relationship doesn't allow for your evolution, it is not a partnership, it is a tether. When you realize that more isn't about getting more stuff, but about creating more room for your true self to breathe, the choice becomes clear. The deeper truth is this: settling is not a lack of resources, it is a lack of courage. It is the quiet agreement you make with yourself to be fine so that you don't have to be brave. But you were not meant to be fine. You were meant to be full. You were meant to be challenged. You were meant to be seen in your fullest, most ambitious light. The cage door is already unlocked. You just have to decide if you're ready to walk through it. Your task for today is simple. Identify one placeholder in your life, one small thing you are tolerating because it feels safe. Then today, do one thing that makes it slightly less safe. Write down the first step. Then take it.